I decided to do a 10-mon hardcore Nuzlocke of Pokemon Emerald, the first Pokemon game I ever played, and I decided to use my first ever shiny Pokemon, Makuhita, as my starter. In addition to the usual hardcore Nuzlocke rules of no overleveling, no items in battle, a Pokemon in this run will be from a random number generator. Once picked, I order them in base stat total and then get a new one after each gym battle. Except I get 2 to start with, because everyone needs a best friend. Does this mean evolution lines are more likely? Yes, no further questions. So after spinning the wheel to decide what hours of my life will look like, and throwing away the Ho-Oh, the order will be Skitty, Slugma, Numel, Carvanha, Hypno, Rhyhorn, Kadabra, Cyndaquil, and Charizard. So not only did I get a Numel and Carvanha, the Team Aqua and Magma Pokemon, I got them on back-to-back wheel spins. I also managed to get the only case of 2 Pokemon sharing the exact same cry in the entire game. And also something I noticed is that with Makuhita, Skitty, Numel, Abra, and Cyndaquil, it looks like I'm making a Lucy team here, so this can be called the Lucy Special. My starter Makuhita and bonding over tearing that Zigzagoon a new one, I proceed to name him Ling Ling. And thick fat. Yeah, nah, sorry buddy, I need my dumplings to have some intestines. I get one with the right ability on reset number 3. So I pick up Ling Ling's best friend Kit Kat the Skitty, and we're off on our Hoennian adventure. Ling Ling proceeds to very easily thrust through Maze Torchic, so it's a straight shot to the first gym. The first gym being rock type means it's a total pushover for my little dumpling boy. Thanks to both of Roxanne's Geodudes missing their rock tombs, Roxanne's potion on her Geodude doing little more than waste my time, and her nose pass using Harden as Ling Ling scores a critical hit to one-shot the magnetic masonry boy, we get through this damageless. Oh, I love my little Ling Ling, he's such a good boy. Now that we've unlocked Mars the Slugma, it's Brawly time. And I'm gonna be honest, this gym is looking really hard. Not only is Kit Kat a little useless at the moment and will die to a single fighting type move, Mars dies in 2 moves, and my boy Ling Ling, while he has got intestines that I can give food poisoning to, Brawly has one with Bulk Up and a Citrus Berry. And do you want to know how I know this is hard? Well, because Brawly's already curb stomped my first few tries, so I'll just show you the run that matters, which is around attempt 8. Starting off, it's Machop against Mars. Machop bulks up as I use Ember and for once pray not to get a burn. I get a critical hit instead, hitting Machop down to healing range. Expecting this heal, I then yawn. Wait, what, he doesn't heal? That's so healing range. Well, I guess I took a seismic toss for no good reason. So now Mars has to take a further karate chop to the face just to be able to knock out this now sleepy Machop. The Metatite that comes in can't hurt as long as I keep embering, so I ember down until Brawly finally uses his super potion on this useless onion child instead of the tank waiting in the back. Speaking of which, out comes Makuhita, which has ended so many of these runs. I use Yawn to make him sleepy, and he proceeds to KO Mars. In comes Ling Ling for the dumpling honor battle, and I have fake outs so I can make him flinch during his non-sleepy Yawn turn. A vital throw from here then cleans up. So in the end we only lost Mars. Considering how half of my selection is weak to water, and 3 of them are double weak to water, I'm not too heartbroken about the little slug. But our new friend Gold Bears the Numel, he's gonna be very useful. The next major fight is against May, so I lead with our starter Ling Ling, given food poisoning of course. I slap Wingull upside its head with a fake out and it does solid damage. Wanting to not take a wing attack, I switch to Ling Ling's BFF Kit Kat, who dodges the incoming Supersonic. Kit Kat then hits a critical hit tackle to finish off the Wingull. In comes the fighting type Combustion, so it's time for Gold Bear's debut. He takes the double kick above half, but we're dead to a crit here. But with no better option, I click Magnitude. We live the double kick and pull a Magnitude 8 for the one shot. Now that's a good camel boy. I then switch back to Ling Ling, who takes Swift and Poison damage. Then we take more poison just to slap this rock. On the next turn, Lombre proceeds to outspeed, hits a crit Swift down to just 4 HP, as our arm thrust is able to finish him off. Thank God no end of turn, otherwise we'd have to say goodbye to Ling Ling. The next level cap is Watson's level 24 Minetry, and wait, what happens to level 24 again? Ling Ling, look how big you've grown! Yes, you have. Who's your good sumo dumpling boy? You are. Yes, you are. With someone as thick as your mum acquired, it's Watson time. He leads the round boy as I throw out Gold Bears. Gold Bears eats a rollout before hitting a magnitude 9 for the one shot. Electrite then comes out, howls to assert dominance, and dies of a magnitude. What an idiot. Magneton then comes out, hits a supersonic, and Goldbears hits himself in confusion. Oh, it turns out this isn't completely free. Oh no. A Sonic Boom comes out for 20 hit points of damage before Goldbears then immediately snaps out of confusion, remembers he loves the taste of blood, and one-shots the set of magnets. Finally, it's Manectric time, as he too howls to assert dominance, but unlike his protege, he lives the magnitude. I'm dead to a crit here, but Goldbears wants this. The quick attack comes out, and Goldbears lives on 6 HP before leveling the building so Manectric is crushed to death by falling rock. Okay, if I didn't take the Mayfight as an omen for crits, I should be taking this. I'll play around them better. This now unlocks Meteor Falls, which has the for once useful Moonstone, which I've used to finally give Kit Kat a little more oomph. Aw, look at her, they grow up so fast. It's maxi time, so I feed Ling Ling some 3-day-old seafood and head in. The lead Mighty Anna does have Intimidate and tries to snack an outgrown Dumpling Man, but Ling Ling rips a 4-hit arm thrust to one-shot the Dark Doggo. In comes Zubat, so Ling Ling tags out to his newly evolved BFF as she once again dodges a Supersonic. Kit Kat then hits a feint attack for under half as this Zubat hits a wing attack and falls in love?
Hey, sweetheart, how'd you like to take a ride on a real bike? She's 16!
Wait, I should use that clip around the Brawly level cap. Well, this lovesick bat then can't stop swooning as Kit Kat proceeds to feint attack twice with KO. In comes Camerupt, who can be a big problem, so Kit Kat gives him the old come yonder to draw blood away from his brain, but he sees through the lies of love and gets pumped with focused energy. Kit Kat then sings him a nice lullaby to put the camel to sleep. And then Charm, even though he's high chance for crits, will ignore these stat drops. After he wakes up, Kit Kat puts him right back to sleep and then hands it back over to her BFF, Ling Ling. Camerupt realizes his true love has left, wakes up, throws a tantrum magnitude which crits, and Ling Ling falls down to 15 HP. Luckily, Ling Ling's Vital Throw one-shots from there. So was there a lesson from that Mayor Watson or not game? You're giving me mixed messages. I know Flannery is a tough cookie, so using the Macho Brace from the Winston Churchill family, I EV train my little camel in attack and HP to give him the best chance to take her down. And with that, we're on to Flannery. She leads with her Numal as I send out Goldbears to the game's second honor battle. I immediately click Magnitude for the quick KO and level up. I then set up a focus energy on the Slugma, knowing that out of Flannery's team, it can hurt Goldbears the least. Slugma uses this turn to set up a Sunny Day, which can make Torkoal's overheat really hurt. Goldbears then pulls a Magnitude 8 to end the Mars family outcast. In comes Camerupt, but Goldbears Magnitude one-shots Zelda without even needing a critical hit. Finally, in comes the beefy Lava Turtle, and Goldbears pulls a Magnitude 7, which crits and gets the one-shot. So that's now half of the gyms done damageless. This ain't looking half bad. I mean, unless you're a Slugma enjoyer. Also, I'm gonna be honest and say I forgot to pick up our previous friend, but welcome to the team, Sour Patch the Carvana. And also welcome our recently earned teammate Trix the Hypno. Now with Norman's level cap in place, my spiky fish can evolve into just a completely terrifying shark. It's time to crush our dad, so I serve his best attempt at family dinner to Ling Ling and jump in. His lead Spinder does what it always does and confuses everybody, but with the held person berry, Ling Ling is able to see through it and Vital throws Spinder through the window. In comes the Ketamine Monkey, and it facades us for solid damage before Ling Ling thrusts him 3 times to KO, opting not to search a copy of talents. Next up is the family dog, who I cannot risk setting up with a belly drum and sweeping. It instead goes for another facade, and Ling Ling then takes it to the farm upstate. Finally, the family gorilla comes in, and Ling Ling is about to pass out from diarrhea, so he tags out to his trusty BFF Kit Kat, who takes more than half her own facade. The family gorilla then also falls in love with Kit Kat, and I'll remind you, we don't victim blame here. It's not her fault, she's cute. After our berry brings us up a little, I charm twice, risking the crit to neuter this thing, and luckily his next facade doesn't crit and hits Kit Kat for only 31 HP. As he loafs, I try my luck at a sing but miss. Risking it for the biscuit, Kit Kat then hits her next sing on his non-loafing turn. I switch to Sour Patch, as all his physical moves should be at -4 and his feint attack is resisted. I'm also fearing his counter since most of my moves are physical, so if I don't one-shot him I could lose a friend. I opt for Screech to lower his defense 2 stages. He wakes up and tries to counter, probably thinking it's super effective, but the Screeches keep coming. Once he's down to -6, I then switch to Gold Bears, who doesn't take damage as he goes for another counter. And a magnitude 8 then one-shots the family gorilla, granting us the W. We take the balance badge, as the balance in the DCEU, our Hoenn family, has certainly been altered. And now we finally have a team of 6 as I get our new friend, Rock Candy the Rhyhorn. Fearing the upcoming birds, I boot up the Ice Beam TM. Wait, what? Rhyhorn can learn Ice Beam? What Gen 1 privilege is this BS? In our leveling up, Gold Bears can finally evolve and gives us our Magma Aqua pair, learning Rock Slide on evolution. It's Burb battle time, so Winona leads her small floofy cloud burb, and I send out Sour Patch, who then proceeds to Ice Beam the cloud so it freezes and falls out of the sky like hail. Winona, the genius that she is, then sends out the Banana Burb, Pod weak to ice, which then appropriately gets frozen to death. Next up is the Toilet Burb, so I switch to our trusty Kit Kat, who thankfully dodges the critical hit Protect that this Toilet Burb always goes for, and then proceeds to fry the Toilet Burb out of the sky with a Thunderbolt TM I taught her. In comes Steel Burb, who is able to live the Thunderbolt with under half before hitting back with a Steel Wing. A second Thunderbolt then takes it down. Lastly is the bigger Floof Burb, who gets hit with the other Ice Beam TM that cost me all my childhood savings in the game corner. Altaria lives it in the red, to then set up a Dragon Dance before getting healed by its Orange Berry. Nothing on my team wants to take anything this Altaria is going to dish out, so Kit Kat has to take the Earthquake, gets knocked down to 36 HP, and a final Ice Beam gets us the win. Winona, I may just name a daughter after you one day. This now grants us access to Whizfizz the Alakazam, who outranks the local pedophile as the best psychic type we can use, so back in the box you go, buddy. Maxie then needs technical support as his Groundon isn't working as advertised, and to rub it in the wound, I taunt him with the fact that we have a better camera up than him, so he vows to punish me and attacks. He leads Mightyana to intimidate Ling Ling, who as usual goes for the solid chip with Fake Out. I was expecting him to swagger, so I had equipped a Person Berry, but he just hits a soft takedown before Ling Ling slams him with a Vital Throw. Next up is the speedy Crobat, who quad resists our stuff, so I finally give Rock Candy a chance to show his worth. Rock Candy gets confused on the switch, takes a special bite, and then hits himself in confusion. So now being dead to a crit and thoroughly garbadored the bed, I switch Rock Candy to our trusty Kit Kat, who takes the next bite, gaining another OnlyFans sub as a result. Crobat then outspeeds Kit Kat, hitting a Confuse Ray, causing Kit Kat to hit herself as well. Since she's too precious, I don't want her going down to a crit plus Confuse, so I make the switch to Sour Patch hoping for a bite. It ends up being a wing attack, which hits me below half. I'm not confident I get the outspeed in one shot here, so I get my trusty Gold Bears out to tank the next wing attack, which he does well enough. Taking another wing attack, he then retaliates with a Rock Slide, which knocks Crobat into the red. Expecting a heal here, I switch to Whizfizz for his debut battle, as Maxie indeed uses a Super Potion. Whizfizz then explodes the bat's brain into a bajillion pieces with a critical hit, so now we only have to deal with Camerupt. My team isn't looking great for switches into a Camerupt, so I've Whizfizz through out his hardest psychic, and it hits for about 70%. Camerupt then tramples my bony magician to death with an Earthquake. Rest in peace, Whizfizz. I'd have more to say about you, only I basically just met you. Sour Patch can then easily come in for the revenge quad effective wait, I have to use tricks again. No! Whizfizz! I'm sorry! I'm so sorry! I love how Archie will just sit here having his conversation even if I leave. Must be some hot gossip in the Team Aqua hideout. And no, you can't evolve. We gotta wait for Earthquake. It's 7th gym time and I am terrified. I've been buddied by these twins on previous Nuzlocks and they can easily get out of hand. Sour Patch will be crucial to victory, but I can easily see him going down to a one-turn Solar Beam or a stab Earthquake. I can see Rock Candy, Kit Kat, Ling Ling all getting one-shot by Psychic, and Gold Bears can't hit Rock types for too much damage. I bite the bullet and teach my one Shadow Ball TM to tricks and start the battle. The twins sent out Wise Burb and the biblically accurate Dreidel as I get Sour Patch and tricks out there. Scared of the earthquake, I double up with Crunch and Shadow Ball targeting Claydol. Sour Patch is having none of it today and just straight up crits his Crunch for the one shot. Good job, buddy. Xatu then Calm Minds as Solrock gets hit to just above half. So far, so good. Another Crunch from Sour Patch just straight up kills Solrock, and suddenly this gym isn't looking so daunting. Xatu then sets up the Sun as Trix hits it below half with a Shadow Ball. No more possible Solar Beams, sorry Verb. Sour Patch then mauls the Wisp to death, as Lunatone then Calm Minds, taking the next Shadow Ball. And with a final Crunch from Sour Patch, we've just cleared this gym damageless. I'm so proud of my little shark. This now grants us access to Nerds the Typhlosion, which I then throw all my money at to teach Flamethrower. Also, I guess I'll get Psychic for Trix for the upcoming gym instead of wait for level 49. Now it's time for the Maxi team-up battle, and I'm going to have to be really careful to not lose a friend here. I decide to use Ling Ling, Sour Patch, Trix, and head in. Against the lead Camerupt and Mightyena, Ling Ling fakes out the Camerupt to not have to deal with scary magnitudes, as Mightyena misses the Swagger, and Metang Psychics the Camerupt. Good start. Maxi then taunts me, which I am fine with, and Metang then Metal Claws the Camerupt for the KO. Golbat now comes in to take the quad-resisted arm thrust, and it's time for Ling Ling to leave. I switch to Trix as Mightyena swaggers Metang, which can end up really good or really bad. It starts off at least really good, with Metang hitting a +2 Metal Claw into Mightyena down to the yellow. Thanks Steven, but left side of the road in this country please. Golbat then crits a bite into Metang, and as revenge, Trix explodes his batty brains all over the Space Center with a Psychic. The second Werewolf Boyfriend then comes in, intimidating us as the first one goes for Scary Face. Metang then doesn't hit himself. He doesn't hit anything else either, since he went for Psychic into the Golbat slot. With two Dark types on the field, I switch to Ling Ling, who gets hit with a Swagger. I should have given him a Person Berry, this one's on me, buddy. Metang, still confused, breaks through to hit a +2 Metal Claw into Maxi's Mightyena for the KO. Left side! Steven! Left side first! Crobat then comes in, and I don't want to lose Ling Ling to a confused plus wing attack, so it's back to the expendable Trix for me. The wing attack comes out, and goes into Metang? Max, are you feeling okay? I think you might have a fever with all that time around lava. Metang finally snaps out of confusion to set up a light screen. The Mightyena then goes for takedown into Metang to confirm to me there is indeed a disease outbreak of brainworms at Magma headquarters. Maxi then wing attacks again into Metang, so I'm starting to theorize he was also dropped at birth, as Trix does his best Whizfizz impersonation but fails to one-shot the bat with Psychic. He can't be the greatest power, and you'll just have to live with that. Nice spit F drop though, I guess. Metang then teaches Trix how it's actually done as I proceed to fail Steven on his driving exam. Because now in comes Camerupt, which is trouble. It is the final Camerupt we have to face though. Mightyena then hits a useless Scary Face, and I switch to Ling Ling, who is better equipped to handle this, as Metang hits a +2 Metal Claw into the correct lane for once. Not quite managing to kill, but does get an attack raise. Mightyena then swaggers into Ling Ling, and like before, I don't want to lose my precious baby. The Camerupt tries to forget that it just saw its master fumble a Crobat, giving him a +2 to special defense. So I switch to Trix, as Steven finishes the Mightyena with a Metal Claw, and hands me back his driving exam. The Stab Earthquake then comes out, hitting Trix to just above half, and finishing Metang. I'm just about to give Steven the keys, but he proceeds to show that he's learnt nothing, and sends in his quad weak to ground Aggron. He then dodges responsibility entirely by going for a Protect, as I hit a pretty weak Psychic. Camerupt then does his best to forget Steven's fumbling, and gives himself another +2 to special defense. Since this might take a while, I have Trix let out a truly vomit-inducing fat one that you can taste in the back of your throat to get some residual damage going. Aggron then claws as draggedly as he can for a truly sad amount of damage, as Camerupt finishes deleting the rest of his brain cells to achieve an enlightened status no camel before him has ever been to. After Poison, I now switch to the physical side, something no Hypno should ever do, throwing a Shadow Ball at Camerupt for basically the same amount of damage the last Psychic did. Aggron then hits a Dragon Claw for a sad amount of damage, and Camerupt then throws itself at Trix with a takedown, hitting him all the way down to 3 HP. The Recoil and Poison then finish off the Enlightened Camel, and I admittedly breathe a sigh of relief for Trix. There, are you happy? You have the capacity to make me worry, Trix. I begrudgingly give Steven his license and rush Trix to the nearest Pokemon Center. Much like dangling our superior Camerupt in front of Maxi causes him to attack, Archie declares battle when I show him our big and strong Sharpedo. Time to show the world what nerds are capable of? Anyway, Nerds the Typhlosion pisses fire all over the Mighty Anna, one-shotting him. Next up is the villain's best friend Crobat and his air cutter for a bit of damage before he too succumbs to the fire piss, this time with a crit. Finally, Sharpedo comes out and I switch to Ling Ling to slap him upside his head before thrusting. Wait, that's considered healing range? Well, Ling Ling thrusts him 3 times to death anyway. Everyone gives these teams crap for getting the wrong orbs, but to be fair, there is some red on Kyogre. Right there. Yada yada the apocalypse, yada yada off to find the best snake. And see, look, there's blue on Groudon as well. They're not all wrong. Well, not here, don't look at this. But here, see, right here. Wait, so do the cracks in Sky Pillar form after Rayquaza wakes up, meaning he blasted off so fast he damaged his home? Or when he got back, did he just collide into it and he just sat there and prayed like the Ice Age squirrel it wouldn't collapse? I then proceed to feed Ling Ling, wait, I gave this job to Bender this time. What did you feed him, buddy?
What comes out one end, we feed to the other. Also Indian food.
And I gotta say, trying to do the ice puzzle when you've got a beloved Pokemon throwing up from motion sickness the whole time is kinda distracting. With that done, the next gym badge can only belong to one.
Última pasión can only belong to one.
No. It can only belong to one.
Lynch killed them both.
I send Trix out against the Pokemon I loved so much as a kid, Luvdisc, in hopes of getting a calm mind sweep going. Luvdisc ruined things straight away by giving Kit Kat's OnlyFans some healthy competition with an attract. Trix, however, calms his mind from the invasive horny thoughts at once, only to then get a normally $15 but one-time free kiss from its creator, but Trix also came prepared with an person berry, and sets up his second calm mind. Deciding to start dealing damage, I click Psychic as another one-time free kiss comes out for another confusion. Trix, confused and in love, goes with what his heart truly wants deep down, and that's violence. He explodes the poor Luvdisc's mind, we're still gonna have to deal with confusion. Or not! As Trix, proving to me has indeed adopted the alpha male mentality, immediately snaps out of confusion from these unloyal hoes and starts headbutting the bipedal lobster. Since the best thing this thing can hit me with is actually Crab Hammer and I have these calm minds set up, this is actually the best thing I can be doing, as sad as it looks. Well, after enough taunting and leering and headbutting the lobster I'm going to have as an entree later, in comes the sushi I'm going to have for my next course. Trix then hits a single boosted Psychic for 70% to prove once again he isn't Wizfizz, may he rest in peace, as the Wishcash tries to forget what he saw in Luvdisc's DMs, and then put the forgetful fish out of his misery. Celio then comes in, takes a Psychic, may Wizfizz rest in peace, and hits Trix with a rough body slam that hits to the yellow. And, yes, of course, paralyzes. One then heals to full as Trix again hits to the red, may Wizfizz rest in peace. A body slam comes out and Trix once again hits through the para to finish up the Tubby Seal. So it's Kingdra time and this thing has a habit of ruining runs. So I get Ling Ling out there, as it, of course, double teams. It then double teams again, but I got Vital Throw, buddy. This ain't missing. Ling Ling then vomits a little, Kingdra falls asleep, gets woken up, and gets hit by a Vital Throw. Ling Ling then vomits a little, Kingdra falls asleep, stays asleep, and gets hit by a Vital Throw. Ling Ling then vomits a little, Kingdra stays asleep, and, now say it with me, gets hit by a Vital Throw. Did you say it with me? I really hope you did, it means a lot to me. Juan then says rather than take off his coats, he'll give me the badge? What did you think the stakes were, my dude? Oh right, I forget he has an orgy in the basement of this gym. But now, finally, we get access to Charizard. Welcome, Skittle the Charizard. Also listen, I told you these guys have the same cry. It's Wally time, baby, and I know exactly what I want to prove in this battle. He leads with his grown-up flute burb, and I set out Kit Kat. Kit Kat immediately ice beams the burb to death to assert dominance over Wally's team. And here's why. In comes Wally's Delcatty, and we're already 2 for 2 on honor battles, so it's time to show why Kit Kat is the best. I hit Feint Attack for 40% as Delcatty uses Charm on our entirely special Kit Kat. Since it's a cute idea, I charm her right back, as she goes for a signature move and pulls Leech Seed. Uh-oh, this might actually go bad. Not messing around, I go for a Thunderbolt for 40%, plus Parachance, as she then assists and pulls Gardevoir's Double Team. Uh-oh times 2. I now switch back to Feint Attack as I don't want to risk missing, and she then hits a Sing! Uh-oh times 3! Wally then full restores as Kit Kat snoozes for her first turn. Kit Kat then also snoozes for the next turn as Delcatty hits a feint attack, and I guess I have to switch. Kit Kat tags out to her presumably still BFF Ling Ling on a feint attack. Delcatty again tries assist and pulls Toxic, which would actually be kind of okay, but she misses. Ling Ling then vital throws this problematic cat into the ground. Good riddance. In comes Gardevoir, and I switch to Sour Patch on the future side, which can hit dark types in this generation. Sour Patch then crunches Gardevoir all the way down to the red as she Calm Minds, since her moveset can't directly hit me. Not being worth a heal, Wally then lets Gardevoir go down to another crunch, sending out Roselia as Sour Patch takes the future side. Not wanting to risk anything, I switch to Gold Bears and a Magical Leaf. Gold Bears then get seeded before incinerating everything in a 10-meter radius, and yet somehow not the Leech Seed, as evident when Magneton comes in and gives Gold Bears a little suck. Magneton then hits a tri-attack, which of course parries, but luckily not a full para as the Earthquake easily kills. So that's Wally taken care of. That's for you, Kit Kat.
You saved me.
Don't talk to me. I'm not in the mood.
But how will we get through this cave, you ask? Why, by teaching Flash to Whiz-Fizz and using his corpse to light the way. He won't need Psychic now that he's dead. No, Charizard, you're not learning Dragon Rage at this level. Why would you ever want to learn that? Here it is, where I caught my first ever shiny Pokemon as a kid, Makuhita. Hence Ling Ling is my non-random pick. Well, it's Dark-type Sydney up first, and as for why I didn't give Ling Ling status, the teams are getting a little bit longer, so the damage over time racks up a bit more. But I did give him a White Herb to shake off the Intimidate from the lead Mightyena. He then uses Sand Attack, outspeeding as I hit a Brick Break. Not great, ideally Ling Ling sweeps, and missing moves is the easiest way to ruin this. It's Shiftry in second, so figuring he can't hurt Gold Bears, I switch as he starts to double team. I then switch back to Ling Ling as this won't matter with my Vital Throw as he keeps double teaming. Shiftry then of course hits a Swagger, and Ling Ling, of course, hits himself for Confusion for about 40%, which is why I was so scared of Confusion at the Space Center. Since he can't hurt Skittles either, I switch on the next double team only to then switch back to Ling Ling on yet another double team. Shiftry then goes for the super effective Extra Sensory for less damage than Ling Ling hitting himself, and Vital Throw puts an end to the double team nonsense. Next up is Absol with Aerial Ace, and this sweep ain't looking too sweepy. So I switch to Gold Bears, and of course Absol reads that and goes for the Greedy Sword stance. This too can get out of hand. Absol is then consumed by greed as he goes for yet another one, only to have Gold Bear's Earthquake for the one-shot. Crawdont comes in, and I switch to my trusty Bolt Beam and Kit Kat on the Surf, which he takes just above half. Kit Kat's Thunderbolt then gives us the one-shot clean KO. Finally we have Cacturn, and playing it safe, I switch to Skittles on the Cotton Spore. Funnily enough, we still outspeed and are able to piss fire on him for the win. Phoebe time, baby, which means it's time to show the power of the evil shark with some cool shades. It's Sour Patch against Dusclops, and I crunch into his Protect, before crunching him next turn for the one-shot. Banette is next, except no he isn't, down he goes. Sableye is able to take an Earthquake with 30% remaining, sets up a double team, but Sour Patch manages to hit the second Earthquake for the KO. Then it's two more crunches, both of which are critical hits, for the win. That's a lucky shark. Glacier next, and I lead with Ling Ling into the Celio. After of course getting the chip just in case with Fake Out, I'm able to Belly Drum to maximise my attack as she goes for the Hail. Then my Citrus Berry activates to restore a quarter of my... Wait, it only heals 30 HP in this generation? Oh, this might go badly, especially with the residual hail damage now set up. Anyway, I Brick Break to get rid of the Celio. In comes Glalie number 1, without Explosion, but with Ice Beam which it proceeds to hit Ling Ling with. Ling Ling goes down into the red, but Brick breaks for the one-shot. Celio 2, Celio goes to Hollywood comes in, and after carefully checking speed stats, we do indeed outspeed and are able to Brick break it as well. Glalie 2, aka Frostlass Begins comes in, which can explode, and does outspeed, so I gotta switch Ling Ling the heck out of dodge. Skittles comes in and takes the critical hit Ice Beam down to the orange, and it's clear he can't take another one. Just in case Glacier decides to explode her Glalie, I use Protect, but she resets up the hail, so that's a minor mistake that hopefully won't cost me. Especially since Skittles does outspeed, and does one-shot with Flamethrower, so I had nothing to be worried about. But I do now, because in comes the thickest, fattest Wolverine in the region, and I gotta switch. But I first use Protect to stall a turn out of hail, just in case it can help me out later. but it's off to Trix I go as Body Slam comes out, doing about a fifth. Wolverine then outspeeds Trix, hitting a critical hit Ice Beam down to kill range, and once again I'm in trouble. My Psychic comes out and does about a third, and it's looking dire. With the hail stopping, Trix's Berry now activates, taking us out of kill range, so I decide to try for another Psychic. Body Slam comes out, hits us to 57 HP as we hit a Psychic to well below half, then Wolverine's Berry activates. Still without a great switch in, I stay in. Another Body Slam comes out, hitting Trix down to 19 HP, and getting the para, which of course means we can't move that turn. Looking at my party, my best bet is Kit Kat, so I switch and pray. Ice Beam comes out, hitting Kit Kat to 67 HP, and even with that berry, we aren't living another one. I love Kit Kat, I know she'll outspeed, but I don't see her getting the kill from this range. After many minutes of looking at my team, I know what I have to do. Gold Bears is the least useful for Wallace, so I'm so sorry. You've been so good to me this whole run, but I have to say goodbye. Wolverine drowns my Gummy Bear with a quad-effective Surf. Sour Patch, filled with rage for his team leader bestie, leaps out of his Pokeball to score a critical hit crunch for the KO. And then there were only 5. Time for the strongest Dragon Master in this game, Drake.
Now, prepare to die. What's that noise? Can you hear that?
Yeah, nah, we got a good Ice Beam user. Okay, we did have a close call with a +1 Kingdra Body Slam that thankfully didn't crit or para. In fact, our lucky Shark was able to crit him instead with the second crunch. But back to Ice Beaming and we've got this. But Wallace. My team does not look good into Wallace. Trusty Kit Kat leads off with a critical hit Thunderbolt to one-shot the big whale, bringing this final to an early 5v5. Tentacruel is next, and Kit Kat's Thunderbolt hits for a third. That's a tanky Tentacle Boy. He then misses a Hydro Pump. Thinking Sour Patch can take a Hydro Pump, I switch him in, which he does, living on half. He then outspeeds with a super effective Earthquake for the KO. Next up is the double teaming Ludicolo, so I switch to Ling Ling on the incoming Giga Drain. Since he hasn't double teamed yet, I go for the Fake Out for the free unmissable chip. He then tries his double team BS as I go for the always useful Vital Throw. Hitting into the red, a healer's coming, so I stay in for a second Vital Throw to hit below half. The Coffee Duck then uses Surf to hit Ling Ling down to 96 HP as a third Vital Throw takes it down. In comes a Wish Cash, so I switch to Trix as he goes for Amnesia. Oh no, I'm basically all special attackers and I just had my physical attacker in. If only I'd clicked Brick Break. I then go for a Carmine as he sets up another Amnesia. I then go for a second Carmine as Wish Cash lets out an Earthquake, which of course crits, and Trix goes down to just 62 HP. This is starting to take a turn for the worst. My Berry activates and I Psychic for just definitely not enough damage as a second Earthquake comes out and it hits me down to 23 HP. Praying for the crit, I go for another Psychic, but Trix isn't as lucky as Sour Patch, or as strong as Whizfizz, so the following Earthquake takes him down. Speaking of which, I then get Sour Patch out to hit a proper Earthquake with his naturally high attack, but it only hits Wish Cash to a quarter before it responds with an Earthquake of its own, tearing through Sour Patch's super low defense to take him down. With 3 Pokemon left against Wallace's 3, I send out Ling Ling. Not wanting to hit him into healing range with a Fake Out, I opt to hope that I outspeed, which I do, and land the Brick Break for the KO. In comes Gyarados, which gets off his Intimidate, and is looking like prime pickings for Kit Kat. Since Kit Kat is frail, I first switch to Skittles, my only other mon, and good thing I did since he goes for the monstrous Hyper Beam. This hits poor Skittles down to 59 HP, but with his new free turn I hit an Aerial Ace for about a quarter. I then fly up high, which could be a mistake if he starts Dragon Dancing, but he ends up just missing a Surf. The fly knocks into half as the Surf indeed comes out and knocks me out. Now it's a 2v2. Kit Kat comes out and gets a tasty one-shot with a Thunderbolt. Now it's time for the strongest Pokemon we've had to go up against, the beastly Milotic. This defensive monster tanks Kit Kat's Thunderbolts like it's nothing before hitting the Toxic. If only that was Ling Ling. The second Thunderbolt hits the sexy eel to half, as his Surf then knocks Kit Kat to 25 HP before my Berry and Milotic's Berry also activate. Kit Kat's final max spec attack Thunderbolt then hits my Melodic down to 40% as she herself then goes down. It's now a 1v1. My ace, my heart, my soul, my Hariyama Ling Ling, representing the effort and wishes of all his friends before him, mere steps before the Hall of Fame. Wallace's ace, his Milotic, a creature of elegance, beauty, and of course a 79 in special defense and 95 in HP. Ling Ling looks down at his best friend, who he cares about with all his heart. It doesn't matter that she lost her honor battle when he didn't. It doesn't. It never mattered. All that matters was that she put her all into everything that she did, and that included trying to weaken the Milotic for him, knowing damn well it'd mean he'd have to continue without her. If he manages this and makes it to the Hall of Fame, every step there will feel like an eternity and hurt with the pain of 1,000 needles. His feet will be filled with pain, but his heart will be filled with love. The irreplaceable love that comes from holding on to the memories of someone you simply cannot live without. They started this journey together, the two of them, before any other friends. I can still remember the days in Little Root. Kit Kat would run to Ling Ling playing in the yard, telling him our mum just made dumplings. Ling Ling would waddle back inside, Kit Kat wagging her tail, running around him the whole journey back before being sat at the dinner table, waiting for him before she'd start. And when she couldn't finish, Ling Ling would happily eat her leftovers and carry her tired little kitty body to bed and tuck her in. They were inseparable. And yet they'd just been separated. Both Milotic and Ling Ling are on 40%. A fake out likely just puts Milotic into healing range, and then we're back where we started. We don't outspeed. It's brick break. It has to be. There's no other way. Milotic Surf comes out. Ling Ling! Ling Ling! Stay with me! Hold on! Ling Ling! Please stay with me! Ling Ling!